Chapter 19. Life with Grandma begins. Christmas came and went with the usual festivities and cold weather. The new year brought in even colder days. One bitter evening, the phone interrupted the family's Monopoly game. The children stopped playing and watched as Mom dabbed her eyes. "What's the problem?" Dad asked as he put his arm around her. "Grandpa Brubaker has fallen and they are taking him to the hospital. They think he might not pull through." Mom's tears fell even faster. It wasn't long until the phone rang again. This time, Mom burst into even heavier sobs. "Please, let's hurry to the hospital. Maybe he will revive and we will have the chance to say goodbye." The family quickly grabbed their coats and started for the hospital. The blinding snow slowed their travel as they cautiously drove the 20 miles. When they finally arrived, they learned that Grandpa had already passed away. Grandpa had gone to the barn to feed his rabbits, but the cold weather was probably too much for him, causing a heart attack. He fell over and died after entering into his basement. "What will we do with Grandma?" Aunt Ruthie whispered to Mom. "She is really confused and doesn't seem to understand what is happening." "Baby Jason and I will stay with her tonight. Maybe she'll understand more in the morning," Mom suggested to Aunt Ruthie. Dad dropped Mom and Grandma off at Grandma's house. Dad drove in silence back to Redding, knowing the changes that could come as a result of Grandpa's death. The snow continued to fall during the night, and Mom slept very little. Finally, morning arrived. "Why are you here so early in the morning?" Grandma looked at Mom in surprise. Mom tried to respond carefully. "Do you remember last night at all? Grandpa went to heaven." Grandma sat down in shock. "Why didn't you tell me?" Soon the family arrived to plan the funeral. Grandma worked in her kitchen and cooked a hearty meal. She served the meal and even did the dishes. If Grandpa's death was mentioned, she would cry, but soon forgot it again. The day of the funeral arrived. Friends and relatives remembered Grandpa as a kind and gentle man who loved Jesus. Grandma sat beside Mom and whispered to her, "I don't know where Grandpa is. He must be here somewhere. I'm ready to go home now." The family realized it was time to face the upcoming challenges. They prepared Grandpa and Grandma's house for sale. They sold the rabbits, sorted out the house items, cleaned and painted. "Brian and Marcus, come here please," called Dad. Brian put his bat down and poked Marcus. "Come, let's hurry and see what Dad wants." "I want you to carefully carry these boxes out to the shed. They are filled with items for the sale," Dad instructed as he handed the boxes to the boys. Upstairs, Mom and the girls cleaned and sorted. Mom worked in the room where she had slept years ago. Sad and happy memories filled her heart. She laughed to herself as she thought back to one childhood memory. As a teenager, she had wanted a modern bed, but her bed had a high wooden headboard and a small footboard. So she decided to saw off the headboard and turn her bed around. She found a saw in the barn and finished the job in no time at all. When Grandma saw what she had done, she exclaimed, "You have ruined the value of your bed." Mom called over to the next room. "Diane, come look at this bed." Diane peeked into the room where Mom was reminiscing. "As a young girl, I didn't realize the privilege I had of sleeping in here. Look at this beautiful wood-carved headboard. I wanted a modern bed, so I sawed the headboard off. Grandma saved the pieces, thinking we would repair it someday, but the value was lowered because I acted impulsively." Diane giggled. "Now I know where Angela gets it from." "I heard that," Angela retorted from the bottom of the stairs. The two girls giggled as they went back to work. Everyone was relieved when the sale was finally over and the house was turned over to the new owners. However, there was still a greater responsibility that loomed ahead of them. Mom realized that life would be changing for the family. Over the next several weeks, Mom and her sister exchanged many phone conversations about Grandma's condition. Sometimes they laughed and sometimes they cried. Aunt Ruthie took care of Grandma the first year. Then it was decided that it was too hard for one person, so the family would take turns caring for Grandma. "I wonder what it will be like to have Grandma living with us." Angela's face wrinkled at the thought. "I know she'll help us with the dishes, so that will be nice." Diane brightened and exclaimed, "Grandma coming will certainly give me more time to read." Brian thought for a moment before wisely remarking, "Don't plan on Grandma doing too much work. I've heard that she can get into trouble pretty fast." "I think it will be an adventure," Marcus said. Mom was ready for the challenge. "I think it will all work out if we do our part, work together, and show Grandma lots of love."